Okay, guys. So, y'all had recently given me a dream about the big crash that's coming, and it's just about time for me to share it with you all. Now, back in February, I think, yes, definitely, it was the day after Valentine's Day. I happened to went out, and the place was very active. A lot of people went out as well, and I noticed that the shops were filled with people and a great activity of buying and selling. And so I remember that Yah spoke to me and said, "Do you see all of these shops that are now busy? Very soon they're going to be locked." And I understood what he was saying because he had previously shown me several times as well that the big crash that is coming, the impact on the economy and majority of these retail shops and a lot of shops that are in the cities, it's going to be huge to the point where some of the cities are going to be unrecognizable. The change is going to be huge, bigger than what we've expected, and the impact of this crash is going to make the impact of COVID-19 look like a joke, like a picnic. So that's what he had said when I went out on the day after Valentine's Day. Now, when I went home the very same night, little did I know that he was getting ready to show me something again about the crash. That same night, Yah had given me this vision. Okay, so in this vision, me and my sister were living in a 3-story house that was very nearby a lake, a very nice house, and it had a back porch which led down to the lake. Now, for some reason, we were on the back porch all the way down there on the first floor, or I think it was even below the first floor. The back porch was slightly below the first floor. Yes. And it led down to a lake. So we were standing on the back porch, right? And then I noticed above the tree lines off in the distance, there was something very odd looking. And when I looked, it was it was literally two 747s. That's two major passenger planes. They had crashed in the skies. But what was odd was that the crash was frozen. I didn't see when they had crashed. What I saw was the frozen aftermath of the crash. I know, it's really cool actually to think about it. So I saw this crash off in the distance above the tree lines in the air of two 747s literally kissed in the air. They collided with each other, and the crash was frozen. Now, while it was frozen, it was slowly turning, just like this, right? And then every now and then, the crash would unfreeze, and then all the materials and the parts of the planes and everything, it would just start expanding again because it would unfreeze. So it would unfreeze for a couple of seconds, the crash and the impact and the results of the crash, everything, and then it would freeze again. And so that part was quite clear. What I took from that was the crash, the economic crash that's ongoing, even right now, it's being controlled somehow. And it has been being controlled for quite a number of years now. So that part, that's what I'm getting for that part. I'm just gonna say that right off the bat right here. So it looked really cool. I'm just letting you guys know that right now, even as I saw it in the vision. So I was observing this, and I said to my sister, look, check this out. Look at that. There's a crash in the air right now. Two planes just crashed. And the crash would just, like the parts of sections of the plane would just fly off and then freeze. Then momentarily afterwards, it would unfreeze again. And so we're looking at it because, this is very serious. We're talking about people because there were passenger planes and people's lives are at stake. So we were looking at it very seriously. Now, I noticed after it would unfreeze and then freeze again. Suddenly, without warning, it was just released. And then one of the sections of the plane, a huge section, just came very near to where we were living on the nearby the porch there. And it just came and just crashed very nearby by the porch and the lake. And there was this huge explosion to the point where some of the debris flew and hit us, like very small parts, not big enough to cause any damage to us, but we could feel the impact of that crash. We didn't even expect it to crash that near to where we were. And so it came down and just exploded, boom, sending wind and debris and everything flying everywhere. And so we reacted and took cover, and I was like, and my sister as well. And we were like, whoa, because we didn't expect that. We expected it because depending on how far I saw it, we thought that, we were safe, but we weren't safe. We didn't expect it to come that close to where we were standing on the porch. Now, check this out. After that first crash, right, it was as if other planes, and I'm talking a number of different types of planes, smaller ones, bigger ones, several different types of planes, right? It was almost as if in reaction to this first crash, they came flying to the exact same location where this first crash took place, because people were unalived. Everyone that was in that plane was unalived. They were dead. So I'm in the dream, right? It was in reaction to what had happened. Almost one could say that people that were also in the air flying, right? They had family members or some kind of affiliation with having to do with the first crash. I'm trying my best to interpret what I knew in the dream, because I knew this. They had some kind of connection with something happening with the first crash, right? So some of the planes literally turned around from where they were going and was heading to the location or the impact zone, ground zero, if you will, of this first crash. So they started coming towards where this first crash was. And while they were coming towards the general vicinity of this first crash, that's near where me and my sister were standing, nearby the lake, for some reason, their planes also started nosediving. And they started nosediving, coming down to the location to where this first plane had crashed. And they also crashed, one after the other. I was just looking at him, boom. I'm like, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, several different planes. Some of them are the small planes. Some of them are other passenger planes, various different types of planes was just coming and crashing at the same location, right, of this first crash. So the first crash started a chain reaction which caused several other types of planes, different types of planes, to start crashing as well, right there nearby the lake, on the ground, because the first plane had crashed on ground. It was very nearby the lake though, quite literally on the shores of this lake, the first plane crashed, and others came just crashing down right around that same vicinity as well, one after the other. But now, after I saw these planes crashing, people were just unaliving all over the place. You see, out of nowhere, the stern of this huge ship just popped up out of nowhere and was just heading for us, for me and my sister and the house that we were in. This very nice, gorgeous 3-story house. It was heading for us and right where we were at the back porch in the lake, right? The stern, which is actually the back section of this huge ship. I remember seeing it very clearly. It was heading for us. And we knew that if that thing had hit us, the entire house would collapse with us in it, and it would kill us. We would be unalived as well. So we reacted in panic and started to head upstairs towards the second story of this house very quickly, because this thing was just heading for us, man. I remember seeing this huge, it wasn't one of those small ships, big ships, not necessarily a container ship, but it was a big ship, and it was heading right for the house. And we were running up the stairs. And while we were running up the stairs, it hit the back section of the house. And wood and board and portions of the house started being thrown all over the place. You see, it damaged the house. And so while we made it on the second story of the house, right? The second story of the house, my sister was out of breath. And I think she was starting to cry. I think she was getting ready to start mourning for the loss of lives of the people that were unalived in the entire event, even beginning from the first plane that crashed. She was starting to get very emotional. And at that point in the dream, this is what I'm getting. This is the interpretation. When this crash occurs, right, it's going to cause the loss of lives and livelihoods of people. So not only people are going to lose their livelihoods, they're literally going to be mass and great mourning for the livelihoods of people. People are going to mourn their livelihoods, and other people are going to be mourning their friends or family members' loss. Probably they'll lose their houses in this crash and lose everything. But not only that, people are going to be mourning the loss of lives. People are literally going to be losing their lives in this crash. A lot of people, guys. Unfortunately, a lot of people are going to be losing their lives and their livelihoods. Some are going to lose their lives. Some are going to lose their things, material possessions, everything, as I've seen it in several different visions as well. And this is going to trigger a great melancholy kind of vibe, a lot of mourning and sadness, it's going to trigger. Because my sister, she was starting to get very emotional, and I was thinking, man, how in the world am I going to be dealing with this kind of sadness and this kind of vibe? Because I don't like this kind of vibe, man, this kind of mourning and sadness. So it's going to cause people to be very down, depression, you name it. You can think of all these negative energies, because it's going to look so bad because of the magnitude of the loss of livelihood and literal people's lives. I'm thinking people are going to be losing friends or family members globally in every family. People are going to be losing something or someone. That's what it appears to me in this vision. It was really, really big. Now, while we're continuing up to the third level of this house, to go as high as we can so that we can get a better view of the lake and to see what's happening down there, I remember as immediately as I went on the top, and this part was kind of surprising, the first thing that I saw in the lake, it wasn't that ship that had first hit the back section of the house. It was this huge cruise liner, and it was filled with people, like they were still on the cruise. So this cruise liner appeared out of nowhere, literally as if it popped up out of the lake. Big and beautiful, you know how big they are, filled with these tourists. So this cruise liner, and that's obvious, it's pretty clear. It's basically telling you that this crash that's coming, it's going to affect the cruise line industry. They're going to be gone. They're going to be heavily impacted because they were at ground zero in this experience. The cruise line, this big, beautiful cruise line ship. Right? So that is pretty obvious that the cruise liners and the cruise ship industry is going to take a very heavy hit. They might even disappear, as a matter of fact, from this crash that's getting ready to occur. And it was at that point that I faded out of the experience. So Yah had showed that to me after he had given me the word when I went out, to get some ice cream after Valentine's Day. And I saw all this activity. Yah said, you see all of these shops and all of this great activity, all of these shops, they're going to be closed. They're going to be heavily impacted from the switch, from the reset that's getting ready to occur. People aren't aware, but I can see it crystal clear, even as I'm seeing myself here. You see, this thing is getting ready to occur. It was engineered, and it's going to take the majority off guard, unfortunately. So this thing is coming, you guys. I want you to be aware. That's why, I'm telling you guys this right now. It is very serious, much serious than most of us think that it is. And the impact as well is going to be much bigger than we had previously expected. Yes, it's coming very quickly. It's going to happen very soon, almost overnight. And I want for you guys to be very aware, to be ready. Prepare yourself. That's why I've, launched this channel. Cryptocurrency is one of the facets. I think it's one of the most, it's going to be one of the most lucrative, even more than that of gold and silver. Speaking of gold and silver, I think I should speak about gold and silver again, or should I just put the video on this channel that Yah had shown to me many years ago of the prices of gold and silver. Yah showed me prices of gold and silver many years ago. I have that video on the Love is God 7 channel, but that's like years ago. You see, he showed me where gold is headed and silver as well. So I might just re-upload that video here, or maybe talk about it again. I don't know. So yeah, prepare. I'm going to share more things about the crypto coins and what Yah has shown to me, so that you guys may, be ready for this thing. You can, help to save your family, just like Joseph did. Because you know that the majority of them are unaware. They don't know what's happening or what's coming. And Yah has given us these visions and these revelations for a purpose, so that we may, help to serve people, to bless them, and literally save the lives of people. The ones who haven't been preparing were in the dark. So until next time, you guys, stay safe, be blessed, and shalom.